Emotionally, I'm going through the motions because I don't even have time to be sad. I don't have time to be angry. I really don't even have time to be confused. All I have time to do is get better. That's it. And figure out my life now from this point. When Dr. Jabor explained to me kind of what was going to happen in the procedure, he was telling me that it would just be temporary, that I would just need it for like 2 months until I was able to get the blockage removed and kind of get my intestines flowing like they needed to be. Because at this point, they knew that it had been growing so long that that I needed to get cleared out. And so that would take 1 to 2 months. And plus, they needed to give me time to even heal before I can have a reversal surgery. I was a fighter, and I knew that I could get through anything. Like, nothing could take me down. And I also knew that right there in the middle of the storm, that God was with me when my father passed, and God was with me right now. And so there was no need for me to really panic. Once I had that surgery, my body told me something's going on, and it was fight or flight. And that's where Black Girl Magic kind of kicked in, because I knew that like I couldn't punk out. I had to make the best of this. So guys, I could not breathe. I couldn't breathe because it hurt so bad. You ever watch those videos when they do the surgical procedures and they're stuffing people's guts back in their stomach? They stuffed my guts back in my stomach. I mean, underneath my boob, I had the worst pain. I felt like the doctor was in there giving me like 1-2, like he was in there really giving it to me. Like, it was a really, really tough surgery. The surgery was only supposed to take about 3 hours and it took 6. So when he came out, he was drenched in sweat. He was saying basically like this was the hardest surgery, one of the hardest surgeries that he's ever done. Because I was so backed up, and this is where it gets kind of gory. Because I was so backed up, and they had given me that medicine that kind of made all the feces kind of rush to try to give me diarrhea when they said I had gastritis. That really caused like a lot of problems to where he couldn't just grab the tumor. So they end up cutting cutting a large portion of my colon off. But you know, your colon's long, so you have a lot to spare. So they end up cutting a lot of my colon off, because at first he tried to get it out, and you know, and obviously he tried to save as much as he could. I have this hole in my stomach, and the stoma is like it's just basically like a piece of your colon that kind of hangs out. And in the hospital, they have to like kind of see you like that your body is functioning properly. So they made me stay there until obviously until I was healed, to make sure that my scar didn't get infected, because I had a really, really huge scar, that I could walk on my own and that I could kind of breathe on my own, because every 2 or so hours they were coming in and they were giving me breathing treatments. And so and it was really hard to breathe again, like inhale and exhale, because of that cut. It hurt, like it hurt to move. I mean, everything just was painful. And those medicines don't work. I felt high, but it didn't really decrease the pain. I mean, they were giving it to me, it was coming, I needed it, but it really didn't stop the pain. I mean, I had to, you know, I had to be strong. That was a strength. You know, a lot of people were sending me flowers and stuff like that, and that's when I knew that nothing was better than what you guys were sending me, and that was prayers. And whenever people tell me that they pray for me, I really take it in a different way, because I'm like, I know you were. Because only if you knew what I was really going through, I was determined to like get back to my normal self. Like, that was like my thing. Like, I'm just gonna get back to my normal self. Try to keep a positive attitude at all times. Like, the attitude that I have is kind of just happy and excited. And the surgery didn't transform that. I am who I am. So in the hospital, I refused to wear the hospital gowns. I know they were sick of me. So anybody who knows, who has a grandma, they go to Ross and they get these dashikis. Like, you know, I was the dashiki. I was like, I think my sister, and then like my sister brought my stuff, and so I had to get up and walk every time so I could kind of like, you know, learn how to breathe, and so they could see me kind of like, you know, moving my like limbs and like getting back to normal, because it was very hard to move this part. I mean, and I cried when they would get me up. But I cried tears of like pain, because I knew that I had to get through this, and not tears of like punk ass tears, because I'm not a punk and I was gonna get through it. I just had to cry my way through it, and that was cool with me. So I would be walking, crying, but I was gonna get up. And you know, the nurses, they kept my morale up, because, and also my family, like some of my family flew in from California. I had my aunt here from Longview. Like my brother was here from Vegas. Like my family was here, and they came through, and my friends came through. Okay, so and I had my prayer warriors out there. I had people I didn't even knew I existed hitting me up saying, I am praying for you. My sister, you know, summonsed everybody, and people was coming through with the encouraging word. And I was, you know, I decided one day, like when I could kind of sit up on my own without like having the bed sit me up, I'm like, I'm gonna put some makeup on. Whatever it is that I could do to keep my morale, because you have to have those things. Now, mind you, this was 4th of July weekend. So whenever you have a tumor or some type of growth in your body, they, you know, typically if you go to a good hospital, they have to do mandatory testing. So he says, okay, we're going to take your tumor and we're going to do the mandatory testing. Now, I'm like, okay, you know, whatever, do your testing. So that's when everything happened on July 3rd. So he didn't come back in until July 7th. And when he came in, he came in to check on me, but he didn't come back in with the results till July 7th. He was like, okay, is your mom here? And I was like, oh no, she's not here. You know, I'm grown. I don't need my mama. Like, he was like, oh no, are you sure? And you know, I have to give you the results. And I'm like, why do I need my mom? And he's like, no. I mean, I said, Dr. Jabor, just, you know, what's going on? And he was like, I hate to tell you this, but cancer. That's exactly how I reacted. I laughed because it was unbelievable to me. Like, I just couldn't believe that a stomach ache went from gas to a tumor to surgery to an ostomy bag to cancer. Could not believe it. You might as well drop the mic at that point, because I was in disbelief and shock. And I never, even though he told me he was testing it for cancer, I never thought it could be cancer. Like, I'm like, I don't have cancer. When you have cancer, you feel it. You have symptoms. You sick. You think you're gonna die. Like, he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually okay. And I kind of like was impressed with myself a little bit, because I was just kind of like, whoa, I'm okay. He's telling me I have cancer. And he was like, okay, well, kind of let me explain to you. He's like, you have stage 3B cancer, so that's kind of bad. And you're gonna have chemo because it's stage 3. All I wanted to know was, am I gonna lose my hair? And he said, well, I'm just your colon and rectal doctor. You're gonna need to talk to an oncologist and find out, you know. He's like, I think I know what medicine they're gonna put you on, but I'm not sure. And he was like, but you don't need to worry about that. He was like, he was like, you just need to get better. You don't need to worry about your hair. And I'm like, he tells me, and so he comes and he puts his hand on my leg, and he's just like such a sweetie pie. And he's like, you know, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I kind of got a grip and was like, well, what do I need to do? You know what I'm saying? Because I knew for sure that God wasn't going to take me out that way. I was not going to die from cancer. I will not die from cancer. Like, my purpose in life is too much, is way bigger than any disease that is going to come to me. So I knew that was not my fate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could get it, but it couldn't take me out. And I felt like that from day one. But I mean, finding out that I had to get a hole in my stomach to poop in was probably worse than finding out I had cancer, honestly. that's the day I found out that I was diagnosed with cancer. Cancer would never become my personality, and that I would always say, because I believe what you speak is very important, that I would always say that I was diagnosed and never say that I had cancer. Like, I didn't own cancer. Cancer was something that was coming, and it was temporary, and it was leaving. So when people would say, do you have cancer? I was diagnosed with cancer because I knew that with God's help, I was going to figure out, and I was not going to be a cancer patient. And I was not going to be like, it wasn't going to ruin or run my life. And that's a very important decision to make. I mean, in anything in life. And I felt like, this is an obstacle that I have to get over just like everybody else. Everybody else has their obstacles. And I can sit up here and I can complain and I can be sad and I can, kind of throw tantrums. But I have to get through this, and I can beat it if I'm strong, if I'm mentally strong, I can beat it if I'm physically strong. I can beat it if I believe that I can beat it. I can't if I'm weak. Once I found out, it was a fight from then. And I just decided also that cancer had just messed with the wrong girl. And that's just what it is. And so the fight began, and I met my oncologist, and he kind of got that vibe that this person is loved. So when you come in here, you better come correct, and you better come with some real healing. Otherwise, you can get out. You can go. Like, well, you're gonna have to have chemo, and we're gonna do chemo for 6 months. You have stage 3, and because you have stage 3, you're gonna have it's in your blood. So we don't want it to pop up again. So we're gonna have you do 13 treatments. And again, I wanted to know, am I gonna lose my hair? Am I gonna lose my hair? He said, well, hair loss is a part of, is one of the symptoms of the treatments, but we'll talk about that later. What we're gonna do is we're gonna, you gotta get healed up, because we can't give you the chemo treatments. And at that time, it was in July. My birthday, September 2nd. Woo woo, I'm a Virgo. So I wanted to know, was he gonna start it on my birthday? I was more so worried about getting the bag under control, because I had so many feelings about that bag. I was kind of so insecure about it. I was like, what, am I gonna smell? Am I gonna smell? Am I gonna smell? Are people gonna be able to see it? Are people gonna judge me? Are people gonna still think of me as being me? Because I guess I'm sort of a vain person. And it was really something, it was hard to digest, because you don't realize how important it is for people to love you for who you really are, and not other things. My fiance, y'all, he was amazing. And I wanted to like hide until it went away. Or, I just was concerned about, how do you walk around with this ostomy bag? Feel when you're out and about and you have to poop, does it just come out? Is it like, all those things are like playing in my mind. And I know that nobody else, it wasn't a situation where you could go ask your friend, call your homegirl. It wasn't like, it was like one of those one-off situations where you kind of feel alone. And until next time, guys, sorry, I have to stop it here, because I really want to kind of involve you guys a little bit more in that process. So I'm gonna put some pictures, and hopefully I can find some video kind of a little bit about that time. And next episode, my friends come down, so I'm gonna get into all that. I start chemo, and I have to tell you all the things that chemo entailed and what happened my first round of chemo. And you guys need to come back for that, because that is the interesting part. Like, that is the most interesting part. And see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Check you later. I have something really special for you guys, so stay tuned.